America is a country that constantly has to live in a state of crisis management, both due to its global hegemony and its never-ending domestic political polarization. In this context, we are used to waking up to new drama every single day in Washington. However, last night at midnight, a truly historic and equally bizarre threshold was crossed in American foreign policy and domestic politics. At exactly 12:05 a.m., Donald Trump began spreading a wave of panic across his social media accounts. So, what was the reason behind this panic? It's not just about Trump's personal anger. Behind it lies both the shadow of an approaching impeachment and a highly critical deal with Iran being made behind closed doors, hidden from the American public. The first dimension of this story is entirely related to domestic politics. In his midnight posts, Trump targeted Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin, calling on Republicans to expel the bum from Congress right now. Trump's fear is crystal clear. He knows very well that if Democrats regain a solid majority in the House of Representatives in the coming period, they will move to impeach him for a third time in 2027. In fact, Democratic Representative Al Green's speech from the House floor, where he stated, "One day, someone is going to stand in the well of this House and introduce articles of impeachment against you, and you will be impeached 3 times," has literally become Trump's living nightmare. Of course, Trump isn't just sitting idly by. While panicking on one hand, he is simultaneously trying to pass an absurd resolution through his allies in the House to symbolically void his previous 2 impeachments. There is no such history-erasing formula in political history, but he is trying anyway. However, the other side of the coin, which is of greater global concern to us, is far more serious: the Iran issue. Even though Trump claims everything is under his control, leaked reports suggest that the US and Iran have reached an agreement on a draft text that aligns heavily with Tehran's conditions. In fact, reports indicate that Vice President J.D. Vance is preparing to travel to Switzerland for a signing ceremony. Meanwhile, Trump is stepping in front of the cameras trying to market this retreat as a victory, saying, "I find the new Iranian leadership to be much more rational and smarter than the previous ones. They are very easy to deal with." But what is the actual truth? When we look at the analyses of world-renowned political scientists from the University of Chicago, what we see is a total checkmate. Experts predict that America's strategic petroleum reserves will severely dry up toward the end of summer. Do you know what this means? As oil inventories drop, Iran's hand in the global energy market, meaning their maximum leverage, will skyrocket. Why would Iran rush to sign a disadvantageous deal right now? Time is on their side. If they want to deal a real blow to Trump, it is entirely possible that we will watch gas prices skyrocket to $7 or $8 per gallon by late September, right before the midterms. Now, when we look at how the American public is reacting to this event, we see the same familiar lack of vision on both extremes. On one side, there is a fanatical crowd cheering Trump's every retreat as great leadership ending the war. We are talking about a level of cognitive dissonance where people even defend Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth making a fool of himself doing half-rep bench presses in the gym as a show of strength. On the other side, there is an opposition driven entirely by hatred, operating purely on the logic of whatever Trump does is bad, without giving a damn about America's national security or the economic toll of the impending energy crisis. I don't think either of these blind approaches is correct. Speaking the truth shouldn't be this difficult. Yes, Trump is using this entire process purely as domestic political and PR material. This is a clear point of criticism. However, on the other hand, it is also a concrete fact that America's military and economic strategy in the Middle East has stalled, Iran has proven far more resilient in the region than expected, and Washington is facing a serious energy crisis. In conclusion, the poorly maintained, dystopian-looking landscape outside the White House is actually like a summary of current American politics. We need to learn to appreciate when something is done right and criticize it when it is wrong, without resorting to partisan tribalism. No one in the global arena is looking at America's internal squabbles with pity. Everyone is playing their cards according to their own interests, and right now, the cards are not being dealt in Washington's favor. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, see you in the next videos, and take care. Goodbye.